Welcome to the YouTube. Raw action is better than no action. I could have continued to procrastinate this video and saying, hey, I need to get a perfect camera, a perfect mic, get that all set up, blah, blah, blah. And then it ends up 1 day, 2 day, 5 days a week. Instead, I'm pulling out my phone, I'm recording this video quickly with my microphone, and then we're going to go straight into the presentation. What this video is about is delusional self-belief, how to operate from the state of you already knowing that you've achieved your goal so that you can operate on calls from a state of abundance, not scarcity. Most people lose deals because they're not operating from that version of themselves, but instead they have limiting beliefs holding them back. They let one call turn into two bad calls, turn into three, turn into the whole day of bad calls. And instead of not letting that one call affect them, going into the next call with the mentality of how do I serve this person, they let it carry on. So this video is super important. Don't just watch this video in the background, actually take advantage of it. We're in a state of information, and a lot of people mentally masturbate, and instead of actually taking action, taking notes, and implementing, they just watch. So, write your notes. On this channel, we're gonna make it a tradition to write notes and then post them in the comments. So, once you finish this video, post your notes in the comments. God bless, let's get it. I was debating between obsession and delusional self-belief, and I decided to go with delusional self-belief because I feel like personally it's going to land a lot more. So, delusional self-belief. Do you guys know why this is important? Type in the chat why you think it's important. Simon, you better be cooking right now.
I mean, there's so many ways you can answer that.
Because you can't be normal if you want abnormal outcomes. That's a good one. To be exceptional, you must be an exception. If you're delusional, you can reach limits that people never even think of. That's good. Roxanne, are you typing one out?
Trying to put it together, yeah.
Okay,
Trying
cool.
to
I don't want to
finish
move
myself.
on. I don't want to move on without you typing it out because you're selling yourself short in any other way. Like if you don't have delusional self-belief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Roxanne's cooking up an essay right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, no pressure, no pressure. It's okay, we have all day. To have 100% conviction in yourself and be able to influence others to overcome their own limiting self-beliefs. That's a very good one. Because if you have your own self-belief and conviction, then you can lead others in the exact same way. And if you don't, you can't. That's good. Question you guys can ask yourself is, are you delusional enough? I heard this before on a video. If your goals don't surprise other people and elicit a reaction of you're crazy, then your goals aren't big enough. You have to believe you have it for reality to catch up. You can't operate from a position of lack of scarcity, and if you're delusional enough, you already have everything. That's good. The word delusional is a word used by people who don't operate from extreme self-belief or by us in a context that's positive. But we all have that family member who's like, you're crazy. There's no way you're going to do that. I've heard a lot of people whose parents don't believe them in them. I'm in a very lucky position where my parents do, but let's say your parents don't believe. That's a story that you can use to tell yourself another reason on why you should. The way that the world works is your mental state, your internal dialogue leads, then the physical realm follows. The world catches up after you believe. Does that resonate with anyone? Type a one in the chat. Common. Yeah, parents like to be realistic. They want to keep you safe. Most reps are stuck in a loop You don't just need a new pitch. You need to operate from belief, from this 2.0 version of yourself. When you are your old self, that's your default frequency, which equals old behavior, which is the same goals. You're not, let's say you're in objection handling, you have this feeling of anxiety coming up because you're not operating from this 2.0 you, the one who knows that they're making 30K this month. That then creates the old results, which is the same numbers, which confirms your old self, and the loop repeats. One person says the framework with scarcity, the one with optimal delusion and delusional self-belief comes from abundance. Type a 1 in the chat if you think the scarcity closes. Type a 2 in the chat if you think the second person closes. Simon, Minerva, Roxanne, all number 2. Good stuff. Josh, number 2. Dan doesn't know what to say. So the question for you guys is, are you operating as the closer that you're becoming or internally are, or the closer that your last 10 calls say you are, whether that's good or bad? If your identity is a downstream of your statistics, you're only attached to outcomes, not inputs. I do believe that a lot of confidence comes from not shouting affirmations in the mirror, but instead having an undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are. But that doesn't have to be tied to the outcomes. It should be tied to the inputs that you put out. I took 100 calls per day. I closed, let's say 50%, but it doesn't matter because every single call that I had, I followed the process. I reviewed my calls. I went to my coach. After reviewing the call and getting my own feedback, I went to my coach and saw what I could do better. Bang. You're putting the inputs in, meaning that you will externally get the results as well. The way the reps stay stuck. Type of 1 if this resonates with you, by the way. You let statistics decide who you are. A bad call becomes a low day. You get emotionally influenced by that specific call. Number 2, you try to improve the old self, operating from that scarcity mentality. Instead of operating from I am X person, you're like, I'm not good, therefore I need to improve. For an example, me, I'm feeling like I'm falling behind. This was my, I don't want to say bottleneck, but it affected the way I showed up. Feeling like I was falling behind. What that meant for me was pushing harder, feeling behind still, instead of flipping the switch and operating from that point where I know my timeline is there. It's purely waiting for the external reality to catch up. Another way that people stay stuck is you watch, you study, but you don't exponentially progress. You do 400 hours of sales training, but in a negative state, you're only tapping into 20%. I predominantly think the most common one is you let statistics decide who you are. Therefore, a bad call becomes a low day. I used to, but you've reframed me like 2 weeks ago. Are you completely reframed? Who has those bad days where they don't
Yes,
close a call?
I have not had a bad day since. I think I froze, but oh yeah, I haven't had a bad day since. I took 2 closing calls today and I didn't close any of them, but I'm fine. Like
That's
two
good.
weeks ago, I would freaking wanting to die.
Fire. That's good.
Fire.
POV, you get reframed by Coach Zach, and then you collect 30K cash in 2 days. That's so
All
good.
right, don't hype yourself up too much.
No, it's not about the mentor, it's about the mentee. That was one of my first posts on Instagram. It was like, yeah, I've got a goated mentor, Dan, but everyone says there's no such thing as a bad teacher, only a bad, sorry, there's no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher. I disagree. That must have been the secret. Yeah. Oh, wait, did I skip something? No. Okay, cool. This is a cool diagram that Claude made, so shout out to that. Type of 1 if it's a cool diagram. I believe it is. But this visual helped me when it came to screw you, Noah. When it came to changing my frequency. So everyone is broadcasting on a frequency. Let's say this is a radio station. You've got 88, which is the default. That's your current self, the negative mentality, the one who takes a call, gets negative, etc. The 2.0 self, the visualizations that you've done where ultimately you're making 50, 100K a month, you're fulfilled. More importantly, internally, you feel X way, proud, happy, joyful, whatever it might be. That's 106, let's say. Every single day, when events happen, when you go from the 2.0 self, it automatically changes the frequency. So you need to stay disciplined in dialing that back up. What do you guys happen? What do you guys think? Whoa, what do you guys think would happen if you don't stay disciplined in tuning all the way back up to the frequency that you need? Type a one in the chat if you think you revert back to that self who ultimately never reaches their goal. Nick, good to see you, bro. Nick, what do you think about what I just said? I'm curious.
I just joined, bro. I have no idea.
Oh, that's so funny. Do you want me to
I
explain
only
it for
heard
you?
I only heard the part where you said like you revert back to a frequency. Like that's all I heard.
Okay, got you. So your 2.0
Yeah.
self is at a certain frequency, and then the version of you that doesn't reach their goal that you default to, that's the default station. So what you need to do when you visualize you in the future, let's say when you do the morning visualizations with Dan's tactic, that feeling is your frequency that you need to stay at to be there. Because when you stay there, you reach your goal. But if you don't
Oh, I
stay
got you.
disciplined throughout the day when events happen and you don't keep changing your frequency, you ultimately default back to the prior frequency. Negative state of mind.
Sick.
Yeah, it's a dub. How cool is the
That's a
chord
W.
diagram? You like it?
I love it, bro.
Good stuff. So the default station, this can be different for different people. What does your default station say? Type one, I guess you could say sentence. That's the most common for you that comes up when it's a negative state of mind. Mine personally is you could be doing better, you're falling behind, all of this effort, working 14 plus hour days, and you're not even at 30 to 50K a month. Another one is your dad is suffering, he's working 10 plus hours a day, and you still haven't retired him yet. What are you doing? Those are mine. Common ones are I hope they don't object on price. What if I lose this sale? My close rate is too low. I should be further along by now. That person that closed 3 this week only closed 1. And I think it's good to have competition, but at the same time, if you're operating from scarcity, you're not going to go as far as you could otherwise. Don't be a bitch. Always say that one. I think that's a good one. That's another one. What if I don't go deep enough on deep pain? What if I don't challenge them enough on the call? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Cool. A good mentality behind it all is it's not who you are. Like these sayings, it's not the person that you are, but it's the frequency of the station that you're choosing to be at. And you get to choose. What if this prospect is a hard one? Yeah, I should be further along by now. That hits there. Bro. What if I waste all this time on this brokey who doesn't get approved for financing? That's real. That's painful. The 2.0 station that you could be at. Now I want you guys to flip it to something that's positive, that 2.0 you knows that they believe 24/7. Type them in the chat. For me, the 50K per month version of me is already here. Reality is just waiting to catch up. I personally don't care if I lose the sale. All I care about is if I do everything in my power to follow my process and improve. For other people, doesn't matter if it's a fit or not, either way, I'm fine. Being detached from the outcome. I'm here to find out if this helps them, and I want to help them succeed. Objections are information and problems to solve, not threats. I'm the closer that this person needed to meet today. That's such a hard saying. Like, I'm getting on this call today. This person needs to talk to me because I'm gonna change their life. God ordained this call, and I'm gonna help them in whatever way sees fit. Nick, is that fire?
Fire, bro.
Nice. So both stations podcast or broadcast all day, and you get to pick which one you choose to listen to. Why pushing upstream with the wrong mental frame and no self-belief keeps failing you? Are there any new chats? No. A lot of people look at the surface level, which is the behavior. Oh, I keep doing XYZ thing. How do I fix that? Cool. That's the behavior. And yes, you can change the behavior, but if you don't actually fix the root cause, the identity, it's going to come back. So starting off, you start with identity. Who's taking the call? That's why in Born to Close we focus so much on state. Then that transitions into behavior, which then goes to your results, what the world gives back, what the universe gives back, what God gives back. Type a 1 in the chat if you've had a shift in your identity over the past 90 days and you've noticed indirectly or directly, I guess you could say, that that's influenced your results. That's good. Now, a lot of people focus on the behavior, but the biggest lever that you can pull is identity. I see people continuing to try to fix the behavior, to fix the heavy is the head that wears the crown reframe, but they don't actually fix the identity behind it and they stay stuck. One, my favorite. Yeah, I see you use it all the time. To operate from your future state, you need to believe. That delusional self-belief, Loki's favorite freaking thing. Then that certainty becomes contagious. The prospect feels it before you even speak. Your sales manager feels it when they watch your loom. I don't know if you guys saw the message that Jack put in the Discord this morning, but I've just hopped on a new role that's making 5 mil a month, and the sales manager, he loves me. We sent in a loom via a recruiter, so recruiting.io. The loom was 60 seconds, and legit, as soon as I put it in, they messaged me and they're like, hey, bro, you free in 60 minutes to have an interview? Said, yep, bang, hopped on. And I asked what stood out about me compared to others. And he said, normally I don't go past 2 seconds in the loom videos. I watched your whole thing. It was your authority, your articulation, and the way that you carry yourself. And a lot of people are like, oh, the way I carry myself, that can be a lot of things. I personally believe it comes from conviction because in that loom, the way that I was speaking, I can send it over. It came from a place of complete conviction. Type a 1 in the chat if you know people in your life that operate from complete conviction, and when they walk in a room, you notice that they're there. Type a 2 in the chat if you're not surrounding yourself with those people, and you might need to. Jack, every time he looks in the mirror. Josh too. Okay, cool. Why the belief works. Your tonality follows your state, which comes from belief. You can't fake it at scale. The state leaks through. A lot of people talk about sudden tonality training. Every time I talk about, hey, in deep pain, you need to change your tone, I don't say tone, I say state, because ultimately it comes from your state, not purely tone. Second is frame. Frame follows certainty. I'm talking to business owners who are like 50, 60 years old and they've got multi-million-dollar companies, and I'm holding conversation with them, not from a place of ego, but from a place of I know who I am, and I'm not gonna let a type A prospect overcome me in a facet where I fold or I what's it called? Posture. You can't
Relax,
hold.
mate.
What do you
Posture's
mean?
when well, they wouldn't overcome you if you posture. They would overcome you if you collapse. I think
Yeah.
that was the word you were looking for.
Yeah, yeah. What did I appreciate it, mate. Good shit. Frame follows certainty. Something that I say, not say, but something that Dan has said that I've adopted is if your map is big enough, you can contain everyone else's map as well. Same thing with frame. You can't hold the prospect's frame if you can't hold your own. Your frame needs to be big enough, not in an egotistical manner, but knowing that you can do whatever you put your mind to. Objections. Feeling comfortable in objections. If that's coming from purely a state point or purely a reps point, you need to feel comfortable. You need to know that in order to reach your goal, you need to overcome, let's say, 1,000 objections. So they don't even phase you. It's purely problem solving. It's another rep under the belt. I'm curious, type a 1 in the chat if you guys have felt nervous when an objection has come up in the past 30 days. Type a 2 in the chat if you used to be nervous when objections came up, but now you're comfortable. Yes, Sonny, you've been doing all the practice. To
Hop on
Roxanne.
the dating offer, man. You'll be over it in a couple days.
What, do they give you the wife objection?
Nah, but every
They-
single fucking one in the book.
Good stuff. 6 months ago, this is my personal story, I guess you could say, when it came to delusional self-belief. I was tuned into comparison. So I knew that like I would reach my goal, but I was focused more on other people's journeys than my own. So watching people in the program feeling behind, calling that feeling motivation and going into my day-to-day life and into every call, knowing that I'm currently behind someone else, which is coming from a state of scarcity. Then I got hypnotized in Brazil. Is Dan still in here? Yeah. Dan, do you recommend hypnosis sessions for everyone?
Of course.
Good stuff.
Do hypnosis to me, you get one of these.
Bro, there's 2 mascots for Born to Close now. Both dogs.
Yeah.
I think Dan's should be the poster boy.
Poster one.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's slightly more aesthetic.
At least for the next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maple's cute, but I don't know how she compares. Yeah, I got hypnotized in Brazil. What we did was a visualization exercise, planning out my future and then dropping it in my timeline. From that specific scenario and going straight after that, I realized that I'm not behind. I'm on my own timeline. Internally, I know that I'm already at my goal. The world just hasn't caught up yet. And if I know internally I'm going to reach my goal because I'm already there, why would I even compare to other people's timeline? Why would I care if Lockie's made fucking 50K this month if I know in the future I'm going to reach my goal as well? Doesn't matter. Going off of that, tune the dial daily. Now, this is similar to the visualization exercise, but instead of, because like some people, is there anyone in this call not in Born to Close? No, everyone's in Born to Close. I built this for people outside because they don't have the exercise. For you guys, it's doing the meditation. It's something that is not easy to be consistent with, but once you've done it and you don't miss 2 days in a row, you build the habit. It's pretty simple. Sit, close your eyes, do the meditation, where they live, how they speak, what they no longer negotiate with. I would personally do it in the morning because then you go into your day operating as that version of you. And if you do it at nighttime, you're likely to fall asleep. Type a 1 in the chat if you've done the visualization exercise and ended up falling asleep.
Yeah, that was
Yo,
that was
everyone.
there for me. Okay, never mind. I don't feel alone no more.
Dan as well.
Yeah.
Number 2. So that's like the meta, the big vision. Number 2 is catch when you start to drift and you retune ASAP. The drift can be friction on the call and you respond in a negative way. You couldn't get into deep pain. And then your mentality tunes into they're not opening up. This is hard. I'm not getting it. Such a bad prospect. I can tell they're not going to close, etc. The retune that you need to embrace once more in the back of your mind, remind yourself who is on this call. The 2.0 me, the one who's already making 50K a month that doesn't even care because they're not attached to this call, but they want to help them? Or is it the negative one? What is the person actually dealing with? Coming from a compassionate frame, not a negative one. Something that pushes the needle forward for the sale and the prospect, whatever that looks like for you. Which one do you think is more likely to make the sale? 1 in the chat for the left, 2 in the chat for the right. Simon, why number 2? Why is number 2 more likely?
Because they're not externalizing.
Okay. What else?
Because they have absolute ownership. And when you have absolute ownership over your situation, aka your problem, you also have the power to solve it.
Good stuff. Big level. Pre-call state. 30 to 120 20 seconds before every dial, before every call. The highest leverage move that you could do if your state's negative. Close your eyes after reading your pre-call state checklist. I'm assuming you guys all do that. If not, and you want to make 10, 20K a month, then do it. Remind yourself who is taking the call. Get the answer. Visualize that reality once more. That picture that you've been creating every single morning. Step into it from a first person point of view in the current position that you are. Then operate from abundance. For me, one of my visualizations is when I get my parents, like their house. So I'm at the front of their house, blah, 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 operating from that state of like, I feel accomplished, I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. So I pick up that self, grab them, put them in this seat right here, looking at the laptop. And I'm like, okay, I'm operating from abundance. All I need to do is follow the process, help the prospect. Can you see how that would help influence you on a sales call? 2, good one. Yes. Only Minerva says yes. Does everyone else disagree? I think Sonny disagrees. Yes, babes. Good stuff. I agree. Okay, cool. What this can look like, 3 shifts from the old station to the 2.0. From I hope they close, the pressure rises, prospect feels that they pull back. Then you switch to I'm here to find how I can help. The pressure drops, there's no sales resistance or less sales resistance, there's more present, the prospect leans in and they explain themselves to you. You get to tap into deep pain. Instead of being in the back of your mind thinking about questions on the call, you're actually listening, and then you can expand. From reacting to receiving, reacting to objections, each one feels like an attack. You concede or argue, your state is negative, you're not guiding them. 2, receiving objections. Each one is information. You hold the frame, you analyze their language, and you solve the problem. Type a 1 in the chat if you think receiving objections and solving them is better than the prior. Simon says 1. Roxanne says 1. Sonny says 1. Josh says 1. Nick, I'm waiting for you. Nick says 1. Cool. From identity tied to a call. I think this is the most prominent for people in the space. 1 call equals bad closer. That's the prior. Then you spiral into the next. Your state on that call is negative. You let, what's it called? You get burnt twice. You let the burn your next call. And then you affect the next call, which isn't fair to the prospect that you need to save. You switch that to a bad call, which is subjective. You turn that into information. Notice what you could have improved. You know it's another rep closer to the external world catching up to your goal. I think Jack told a bit of an ownership story. I forget to who. I think it was Eddie on the call the other day, where it's like, okay, you get the call, you get the information, you take ownership of it, you study where you can, instead of just going into the next call and free balling it. This is a cool quote. If the mirror disagrees with your decision or your mentality, then the mirror is the one that's lagging, not you. For example, I knew I was going to get lean before I lost the 100 pounds. I was just waiting for the mirror to show it. Even at the age of 12, I'm like, I'm already 100 pounds down. I know I'm going to reach my goal. I'm just waiting every single day for the consistency to catch up, for the results to show. Your close rate is a lagging indicator of who took the call. Who took the call, not the specific script that you used, but the person behind it. Type a 1 if you agree. Slow down, mate. Am I going too quick? Type a 1 if I'm going too quick. Actually, type a 6 if I'm going too quick. Okay, apologies. I'll go back. I'll go back. I'm Gucci. Yeah, I know. Simon, you're a G. Your brain is quick.
Thanks, mate.
My hands aren't quick. My brain in, so haven't heard that since 2016. Got that quick brain. Quick brain. That's going to be the next Born to Close quote. Lucky mate. Quick brain.
Why do I get all the best nicknames, eh?
Quick brain, Simon.
Yeah.
All right. Next slide. I think that's enough. Your close rate is a lagging indicator of who took the call. You can phrase that better, but it's basically going off of the fact that it's less of what you say, but who you are and who says it. Something that Dan talks quite often about. If Michael Jordan took a sales call, he would outperform 80% of sales reps who have the skill. Okay. Be conscious of who you are operating from. Delusional self-belief, or if you're falling into lack thereof. Type in the chat, 1, if you know you're operating from delusional self-belief, or 2, if you believe that there is a little bit of a lack thereof and that you're falling behind. 1 or 2. 1, 2, 1.5. Sonny, elaborate.
Yeah, it's always a little bit like I feel like my conviction over the past 2 months has shifted enormously with the hypnosis and so on, but I do still think that there are some dots to put on the I, so to say.
Okay.
You'll see after Miami, mate.
Yeah. Simon, you said 1.
Yeah.
What do you know you've already internally achieved?
20K a month. Yeah, everything that I'm manifesting
sure?
visual. Yeah,
Why?
because I've done it since Brazil consistently, and I've been doing a lot of work on, the state side of things, and honest to God, I 100% confident in that, and I'm not even on an offer right now.
Okay. Cool. Very soon, mate. In the next 48 hours, I'm calling it.
Cool.
Another point is which one does the market care more about? Specific sales training or results? Type a 1 in the chat if you think it's specific sales training or the results that they've accrued as a 2. You think results? Results. Okay. And I think we've all established that results don't just come from the specific training and the skills, but more the state, the belief, the delusion, the obsession, the mentality, the person behind it. Person with the state gets paid. Just making sure. Is everyone caught up with notes, or do I need to go back? I think Minerva's writing. Alright, mate. Tune the dial. If you guys want to name like the presentation something, delusional self-belief dash tune the dial. Remember, there's no such thing as being delusional. You are just early before the world catches up. People say you're crazy until you achieve what you set out for. Cool. Thanks, Sonny. I appreciate it. You're making me blush.
Do you mind if you just go? Sorry, do you mind if you just go back the slide again?
Tune the
please?
dial.
Yeah, yeah. Just that last slide, please.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna take a photo. Can you guys see? Yeah, bang.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it? Sorry.
Cheers.